What's
Ding.
going on, guys? We're back for our weekly episode of Smack Talk. Powerside 15 was just this past Friday, October 3rd. Corey, obviously you were in town. I unfortunately was playing remote QB from here in the Northeast. But overall, man, talk to me. What was it like attending, being in Vegas, obviously back at kind of quote unquote home, Powerside 15, the night that was.
I mean, you know what? People don't realize how many of us work behind the scenes in Slap News to be able to bring you guys the content that we do in the frequency that we do, in the quality that we do. It takes 5+ people to do it, Ding. So don't knock yourself being there back east because you played an integral part to bringing the coverage that we did to the masses. And I know the guys that Slap News appreciate you and everything that you do for it. So, but as you talked about, Power Slap number 15 from Fontainebleau. I mean, everybody was talking about the first ever trilogy between Isaiah Quiones and Brandon Bordeaux and finally getting a conclusion to the match that we all wanted to see so that that middleweight division could move on. And what a match we got. I mean, overall, the entire night, absolutely phenomenal. Ton of KOs. The energy was good in there. I will say that. It probably wasn't one of the best that I've seen, but it was a good crowd at Fontainebleau. There was a lot of great storylines, a lot of new faces coming in that we recently seen at the training camp in September. And I think in a lot of ways, shaking the rankings up a little bit, kind of giving us a little bit more clear path as to where some of these athletes sit. And, not to be outdone, but the largest man to ever get up there and slap bang somebody in power slap, Juicy, at 465 didn't disappoint. I know it's kind of a controversial match. Some people think Zach Lansing won that match, but Juicy making a statement and putting his name up there in the middle of that super heavyweight division. We got a lot to unpack, a lot to get into. And I know our first guest, Ding, is somebody who, in a lot of ways, first time I actually met him was in Las Vegas. All of a sudden, and it's actually kind of a funny story. We were at the Circus Sportsbook, and all of a sudden I hear Slap News. And Stevie comes running up and introduced himself. And I'm going to say Stevie was a bigger guy in person than I thought he was. I'll be honest with you. And, it was great to see him a couple of days before. And I don't know if it translated through the camera or not. But Ding, when you watched, the weigh-in and the highlight show, did you notice anything from watching it on the other side?
From the weigh-ins and the highlight show. That's an interesting hook you left me with there. Did I notice anything? I mean,
it relates to this guest.
I mean,
assuming not. I'm assuming not. All right. So sitting there, anyways, in the actual media room. All right. And I know he's going to be laughing here. And Stevie has this thing where he just yells, "Woo!" into the camera.
Oh, yes.
Well, it didn't matter.
He was in the hallway. He was in the hallway. You guys went out.
Dude, it didn't matter. I don't know how Stevie has a voice. If he still has a voice, we're going to find out in a couple minutes. But I probably heard "woo" 350 times throughout that weigh-in show. It didn't matter. I mean, he was like a horny rhino on Viagra or something, man, because there was some crazy ass shit going down. Stevie was up there. I got him blushing, so we might as well just bring him on. He's in the back right now. Can I get a woo or what, Stevie?
Woo! Woo! How are you guys doing? I think I still got a voice.
How is it, man? I mean, that day that I was talking about, how many times did you say woo?
Man, it could have been 1,000, man. I think we hit 1,000 that day. Woo!
Putting in overtime on it.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, man, great to see you up there. Very interesting story. Got to learn a lot about you in Las Vegas this past week that I didn't know. Was able to meet your trainer as well, who prepped you for this. It was really, kind of the, Titan versus Goliath. You've going up in weight. You've seen you at 185. I know you probably had to put a couple marbles, in your shoes and hit the buffet and everything else to be able to get in there. But I give you a lot of props for getting up there in the match itself. And if anything, no one can knock you for being authentically you and yourself the entire week. You're a fucking animal, man. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, man. No, it was really exciting, man. It was man, it was a great experience, man. And it was awesome meeting you guys in person as well.
Yeah. I mean, dang, from the outside, what do you think of Stevie?
Yeah, I mean, I think the antics translated to the people watching at home. You know, I think if you watch the show, I think you got exactly what you would expect from the show. Obviously, I think Stevie was front and center a little bit more than he was on the show, being that he was in that co-main event spot. Austin Turpin just has been the guy that brings eyes. You know, generally, if he's in a match, he's the A side, no matter who he's up against. And so I think people were pretty surprised by the way that this unfolded and that he was the replacement for Luke Simons. But if you remember on the show, man, Stevie's biggest moments were being him. It wasn't about, you know, hitting Brandon Kerr. It wasn't about antics in the house necessarily. It was just about who he was on stage, right? Walking up on stage, jumping in the air, stomping, no shoes, if I remember correctly. You know, the clenching his teeth and making the real funny faces with the eyebrows and all that. Like, that was the Stevie that we were looking for. And I think in some ways that's the Stevie we got. What I would like to kind of dig into and talk to a little bit about with Stevie is, what do you think went, I'm going to say wrong. And the only reason I say that is because the reception to the match, both from the president, Frank, or CEO Frank, from Austin Turpin, and I think from the fan base, has been largely negative in that it didn't turn out the way anyone expected, whether that was the flinches, whether that was the lack of a knockout by Austin Turpin when they felt like he was just such a heavy favorite. What, from your point of view and in your assessment, do you feel like was not as expected or as we thought would be when that match unfolded?
I think definitely my strike performance, my overall, and I'm man enough to admit that my performance on stage, as far as striking, was it wasn't up to par, and I think that was a big thing that went wrong. And then also with the energy, I think maybe I put a little bit too much jalapenos in the salsa. You know, I really, you know, it was my plan to spice it up out there and be something different than the other slap fighters. You know, it was my plan to be different, but maybe it was just a little too different. And you know, I kind of also, you know, I also think having a short notice for the fight kind of, you know, plays into that as well. You know, I didn't expect the crowd to be that energetic, man. You know, I feed off of the energy of the room. I know Mike Bisping said I had too many smelling salts. But no, definitely the energy was a lot more than I expected. And I think it just, it really kind of got to me a little bit, you know. That was something that kind of went wrong, I think.
Jokes on him. You had more than just smelling salts.
Also, on that note, I want the results of my drug test to go public because the hand grenade promotes a healthy, drug-free lifestyle. Yes, he does.
I love it, man. I did want to ask, I think, obviously, since the show, you know, I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming you were, at this point, all this time having passed, no call, you were kind of starting to question, like, will I come back? Will they call me? Did they forget about me? Will my time come? And you get this opportunity. Most people would, and I'm sure you know, I saw your pre-fight, you would kind of agree. It was kind of a Hail Mary opportunity, right? You know, right place, right time, picked up the phone call, right set of circumstances, whatever the case is. I think what the fan base was looking for was for you to seize that moment, whether in loss, you know, obviously you stood standing. And I think that part of what I heard from you was that was a, you know, a proud point for you. It was like, I didn't get knocked out by a guy who was supposed to knock me out, albeit, again, there was the controversy because of the flinching and such. But do you think, based on the behavior and the performance that you had on that night, do you think, and this is just being straight up honest, do you think that you did enough to get yourself an opportunity to get a call again at, you know, what we'll call probably a correct division, which is not 205 pounds?
I kind of don't. I don't know if I would have a yes or no to that. I don't know. Honestly, I don't think I did enough for them to bring me back for another one. I would love to. If they did, I would like, you know, a good 2 months to train for it and like you said, get down to welterweight, because I think welterweight would be a good weight class for me. I think middleweight was kind of big when I did it on the show. I could have got down to welterweight then. So yeah, but no, to answer your question, I don't think I did a good enough job for them to bring me back. I would love to come back. I could definitely bring a show, especially with a good amount of time to train. I could work on my slap performance. And, I'm new to the game. I'm fairly new to it. And then, like you said, not being called for a whole year, I kind of thought they had canned me, before the Austin fight. So, yeah.
You can jump in real quick here because I asked Frank Lamasella about this match specifically in the post-fight press conference, and he actually gave a very candid answer. He believed that Austin Turpin, that we're going to see at heavyweight, and he said that we're also going to see you back. So just in case you didn't see it, I can verify that that was said by Frank. So I think you training, my man.
I didn't see that, no, and also thank you for that information because that's something I was going to maintain doing. I wanted to maintain training just in case, but yeah, I was kind of trying to reach out to Power Slap. I haven't tried to reach out the best this week because I've just kind of been relaxing and enjoying time with the family, trying to fix up my daughter's room. But yeah, I'm just kind of spending this week to do that. But I was going to reach out to Frank and them and see if there was going to be another match in my future because like we talked about, I want to prepare for it and give you guys a better show. I think controlling my energy and controlling my hyperactivity while I'm on the stage and focusing on my strike and my accuracy, I think that would be better. And also focusing on a good weight cut to welterweight because I think I would have a lot of fun at that weight class. I mean, there's some good names down there.
For sure. Are you taking this interview from your daughter's room? Is that what's happening?
This is the only quiet place in the house. All the kids and everybody are downstairs. Okay. And man, if I was down there, it'd be crazy on y'all's end, man. So, and then also I was trying to take the time before we did this to kind of straighten it up in here. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not doing a good job.
Okay, no, it's good, man. I know the answer to this, but go ahead and answer it for me. Didn't you moon the crowd at the end?
Yes, I did. I think there were some Austin Turpin supporters. Yeah, so I had to kind of show them what was up, give them a full moonbeam.
Yeah.
Wait. You showed the crowd your ass?
Yeah, I think YouTube figured out how to cut that out somehow. To YouTube, that was pretty good.
So
they missed out on a good-looking ass too.
So what Esteban's doing right now is telling us that he saw your ass live and in the flesh because he was there. That's crazy.
Sorry, I didn't know that. Honestly, guys, when I'm on stage, I'm wearing contact lenses right now. So I'm like kind of like I can't see without them. So on stage, I can't really see. I just see like the colors and the shapes moving. So and then I'm hearing all these people yelling, "F you, Stevie, F you," and I'm just trying to find the right direction and flip it off. Yeah, that's what was going on up there too. And yeah.
What did you think of the weight miss? Were you like, fuck, now he's gonna be even bigger than me? Like, did that matter to you?
No, it didn't. Man, no, it didn't. I didn't worry about it. I mean, we were already there. I wasn't gonna fly all the way over there, and then I figured he wasn't gonna make weight because he kind of had like a consistency. So I would have been surprised if he did, but yeah, he didn't. And I said, hey, we got to do it. We came all the way, and I didn't want to shortchange him either. I know he needs to make some bread for his family. So yeah, you guys, man, when you're up there, when everybody's screaming, dude, it's so I didn't even know I was flinching. I don't know if y'all could tell in the match. I kept apologizing to Austin and the ref. I was like, man, it's like you don't even know it's happening until after you get hit. And then Austin, man, they said he wasn't hitting hard, but let me tell you, man, he was ringing my bell up there, dude. So yeah, the flinching part, man, that's crazy. And also, I think for our training, we didn't do the pool noodle slaps. I think that's why we do a lot of the pool noodle slaps, because it helps with training your reflexes not to flinch. And I kind of didn't do any of that. I mean, like I said, it was a short notice thing, man. So I only had like a very minimum amount of time to prepare for Austin. And that's what I was preparing for. And I think I didn't prepare for such an energetic crowd out there, man. that, man, a power slap crowd, you know, as small as it may be sometimes, man, it's something else. It's a whole other animal.
So that's an interesting perspective that I think we haven't seen very often, right? You coming from your only experience being on the show, which is virtually in front of nobody, and then you go up there and you're in front of a crowd, you yourself being kind of what I would consider to be a showman, but even still, that moment is a lot for you. And I do want to go back to something you said a minute ago. I thought it was kind of funny because you said you didn't want to shortchange Austin, but him losing or missing the weight, did result in you, quite frankly, shortchanging Austin because you took some of his purse. Do you know what percentage of his purse you were awarded?
I think it was 20%.
Interesting. So we had heard 25%. So that's interesting. Okay.
Oh no, it was 25 then. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not good with the month. I know it was somewhere around there. Yeah. No. Yeah. Forgive me. It was about 25%. Yeah. I mean, yeah. You know, they said it during the live feed. It was 20, but then yeah, when I got with Frank and Erica later, it was like, no, it was 25%. I was like, oh, all right, we're good. And then yeah, no, they didn't shortchange me. We kind of did shortchange Austin. Oh my God.
You did. Oh yeah, you did.
Fuck. Holy shit. Sorry about that, man. Shout outs to the sauna, Austin. Woo! Got hit him with that one time. Had to hit it. Sorry about the microphones, guys. Sorry. But yeah, man, I think hopefully I did warrant enough. My performance did warrant enough to bring me back because I always felt like I don't need tattoos, pink hair, and like fake tits. You know, I could put on a show just by myself, you know. So yeah, hopefully I can get down to welterweight and put on a show with those guys, man, because they got some good names. And but if not, I understand, you know, because like I said, my performance, you know, I could have done better. I feel like I could have managed myself a little bit better. So yeah, I can understand if Frank and them, you know, don't want to invest in the hand grenade business again. You know,
I gotta ask you, can you tell me or tell us? Obviously, we're kind of on the tail end of the whole experience. Can you talk to us about what that phone call was like? Like, you get a call, who you getting a call from? What are you thinking in your head when you see that name on your phone? Like, talk to me through the whole process. What did they say? Talk to me about it all.
Man, it was real brief, and I was out with the kids, and my wife had just got out of work. I picked her up, and I picked her and the kids up, and we were out shopping. We were in the grocery store, and she texted first, and it was a text that Erica sent, like, "Hey, would you be willing to fight at 205?" She didn't give me Turpin's name or nothing, so I kind of just was like, "Wow, it's been over a year, man, since the show." So I'm kind of just like looking at it, man, and. You know, and I was just thinking, and then before I could even think, the phone rang, and then it was her. So then I answered, and then that's when she told me the name. And then at first I was like, I was just quiet. I didn't say anything. And she was like, Steve, are you there? You know, I think she thought I cut off. And I was like, yeah, I'm here. Let's do it. No, yeah, sorry. And I'm literally here in the grocery store, and everybody, I'm just holding up the whole line trying to grab some meat, and everybody's fucking like, "Hey sir, move." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And yeah, the next thing you knew, I was on a plane. I went and did some interview, and then they shot me back too. They flew me there and flew me back in one day, man. So that was another thing that kind of affected my little training camp that I had, but it was fun, man. Like I said, I'm a company man. I told Frank and Erica, I'm a company guy. You know, believe it or not, after what you saw on stage, I'm actually easy to talk to. I'm easy to work with. It's just when I'm getting slapped in the face, I just start screaming, you know. So, but yeah, man, we're gonna work on taming that down because I think I got a good walkout. I don't know if you guys enjoyed the walkout. I know Robert probably enjoyed it a little bit, or maybe not. But yeah.
Stevie, you gotta tell me, what's it like you at the grocery store? You're there grabbing some meat. Hopefully, it's the right kind of meat. Are you getting some moves in the crowd or what? Like, as you're going down, you getting excited as you're getting ready to go grab it?
And definitely, man. When especially when they're not out of the stuff that I want, because a lot of the times I go there, they're always out of what I'm looking for. So when they got like the right amount of Cheez-Its, you know, I go, whoa! You know, I love it, man. When they got down here, they make tortillas at our grocery store, and they're actually pretty good. Okay. So when they have the butter tortillas and they're fresh out of the bakery. Woo! You already know, baby. Man, I love me some tortillas, man.
Yeah. There we go. We're gonna get this guy a tortilla sponsorship. He's yelling in the grocery store at people.
being in San Antonio. They fired me a long time ago for being crazy the way I am. You know, they said I had some problems. They thought I was on drugs too, but I'm not on drugs. I just got like a lot of ADHD and probably some undiagnosed like things. But yeah, man, they fired me because they said I was too crazy and shit. So I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, it'd be good to get them.
You come to Power Slap and it's embraced. Look at that, taking you all the way to the top. YouTube co-main event. I mean, life's good for you, isn't it?
It's nice, man. It's nice and quiet now at home. It's over there in Vegas. It was a lot coming and going, man. So I'm kind of glad to be home for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know we talked a little bit about 185, but what do you think makes the most sense for you? You know, you take a bit of time away, come back in a couple months. Where do you anybody like the eye if there was an opportunity? Like, what's next for you?
Man, if there is a next for me, yeah, I would like to. I'm gonna keep training, and I would love to. I'm gonna start trying to get down to welterweight. I think that's something I wanted to be at since the beginning, but I kind of came in a little heavy, so I ended up in middleweight. So yeah, welterweight is something that I think would be a good adventure down there, because I mean I've already shown that I could go with a heavyweight pretty much. Austin was damn near a heavyweight. And then Brandon Kerr, he's over there in slap fight championships taking heads. So yeah, I think I want to test my chin in a proper weight class, which is 170.
Brandon Kerr wasn't the name I thought you'd say. I thought you maybe go a little Stunt Marshall or something. Could you imagine Ding Stunt Marshall versus Stevie?
No, he's a good guy. I like him too. It would kind of break my heart a little bit to have him hit me, But no, that would be good, man. That would be fun, man. What is Stunt Marshall? Is he? He's not welterweight, is he? No. Oh, he's middleweight.
Middleweight.
Is he middle? Oh, same thing, but different.
That would be pretty good, man. I would say that would be a woo from me, man. Ooh, yeah, man, that would be good right there. Let me tell you, dude. But yeah, man. I don't really got too many names as far as I do know I need to train. Like I said, I'm new to the game, and I'm big enough to admit that hey, I didn't have a good strike performance up there, and maybe I need to really focus on once I get on the stage. Going to the stage, like I have a lot of fun, work the crowd, but once we're on stage, I got to hone in and deliver a powerful slap.
Well, awesome, man. Really appreciate your time. Congratulations. It was good to see you back. Obviously not exactly the outcome that you wanted, but you walked out of there shortchanged in Austin. So a win nonetheless, I'd say. And hopefully, like you said, man, at 170, I think that's your home. 205, a bit big for you. I know 185 was big for you, so I'm pretty sure 205 was pretty massive. So hopefully you do get the call back. Like Corey said, Frank seems to be interested in the hand grenade business. So appreciate your time, man. We're looking forward to seeing you soon, or we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you guys. I really appreciate everything you guys do for us athletes in the sport, especially me. You guys really know how to polish a turd when it comes to me. Let me tell you, you guys are the best, man. Let me tell you. Thank you.
We appreciate you, brother. We'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Take care, bro.
All right, Stevie Ray Ellis, ladies and gentlemen. Man, oh man, oh man. Oh yeah. Like he said, man. It was interesting. I don't think it's what anybody expected. I will say I think it was tough for Austin Turpin to sort of lock in, right? Because I think he likes Stevie. It's hard to not like Stevie. When you are up against Austin Turpin and you're the crazy boisterous one, that's hard to do, man. When Austin Turpin's your opponent, and normally he's that guy. He seemed to be pretty tame. Obviously, the weight miss, they were even playing around at weigh-ins, right? Like Stevie touched him. Like normally he's very aggressive, and we've seen him. We never released this footage because I don't know why, honestly. But him and Vern Cathy saw each other outside the hotel in New Orleans, and it was a really weird encounter before they even weighed in or anything like that. And I say all that to say that as much as people believe that Austin Turpin puts on a character in the front, there's some people he really doesn't like. And when he doesn't like you, he's not huggy, lovey behind the camera. We've seen that and we've caught footage of that. And like I said, I'm not sure what the thinking was at the time, why I didn't put it out. I think probably just poor taste, and I didn't want to, fuel a fire that was already kind of burning. But him and Stevie was not that. And then for the match to turn out the way it turned out, him to miss weight, I just think, the momentum that Austin Turpin gets, he does something that takes him 10, 15 steps back and just nullifies it all. It's an interesting thing to sort of ponder. But I agree with Aaron Turner. The co-main event was not exactly it. I do, however, think that Aaron Turner and Nate Bernard stole the show for sure. Yeah, look at this.
I mean, absolutely.
Nate should have been main. I agree with this, man.
Absolutely. I mean, they got the the performance bonus for fight of the night. Both of them taking home an extra check. First ever sudden death. Overall, I mean, and we can get into it a little bit later if you want. I know it's a little bit longer match, so we may not be able to get into the entire fight footage. But to see Nate come back from, the last second to be able to go on in that first round, to have a slugfest the way that he did, and to eventually get it into the sudden death. I mean, where does that rank, historically in the matches in Power Slap? Would you put it as a top 5, top 10 match?
Oh, I'd put it as top 3, man. That was crazy. I mean, to get knocked down in the first the way he did, as a spectator at home, and this is just me being honest, I thought Nate was done. The commentary thought Nate was done. Like it was probably 5, and Nate's on the ground on kind of like a side dorsal position, not moving yet to get back up to his feet. Starts to get back up to his feet. Jason Herzog's in his face. It was supposed to be 10 seconds. It felt like an hour. And he gets back up. It was weird because he didn't like go to a knee first, really. He just kind of got up slowly. So it wasn't like normally it's modular, right? If you think about let's say Isaiah, right? Actually, no, let's go Haley. And Haley even had trouble here. But Haley gets up to her feet, drops back down at her coach's direction, right, to a knee, then is told to pop up at 8, which is generally rule of thumb. It's still wobbly and it's a no-go because she went from sitting to standing too quickly. In the Nate match, what you saw was he transitioned from sitting or laying to standing just much more slowly. He didn't go to a knee or anything like that. He just moved up slowly. By the time he got up, although he still looked like he was a little out of it, he was able to play it off enough because he does this thing where he kind of like takes a deep breath, puts his hands on his side, straightens up his posture, takes a breath, and that makes the referee feel like, okay, he's understanding what's going on here. But the commentary was freaking out. If you haven't listened to it or watched it, go watch it. They were like, Jason, like they couldn't, it was like they were chastising Jason Herzog via the commentary. They could not believe that he let Nate Bernard continue. In saying that, after something like that happening in round 1, I think of the Chief and Brandon Rhodes, right? He drops Brandon Rhodes in round 1 via a club. The match is allowed to continue, which was very weird. But Brandon never comes back. He looks the same, and it gets worse, right? It compounds it. In the Nate match, Nate found whatever dog, animal, buffalo, whatever you want to call it, inside of him to get the wherewithal to not only return and withstand the strikes, but also dish out strikes that were more detrimental to the point where he wins round 2 and round 3 on the scorecard. So now that 10-8 in round 1 is nullified because he's got what would be 28-28 at the end of 3 rounds. And because it's on a live card, we now have sudden death, which we've never experienced. We go to sudden death, and this guy has the best round he's had the entire match after he's already absorbed 3 strikes. One of them was dropped him. The craziest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, we've seen guys who recover better as the match goes on. We've never seen somebody who takes their defense and now uses it to parlay their offense and just shock everybody. I mean, I wasn't there and the energy was insane. I couldn't believe it. And I'm sure as somebody who was standing in the crowd, people were probably jumping all around like crazy. You would have thought somebody just won a Super Bowl or a World Series or a Stanley Cup. Like, it was insane how he was able to not only gain his composure back, but just Aaron Turner's never even been dropped. So this is not a guy who's chinny.
Yeah.
The craziest thing ever, man. Hats off to both gentlemen. That was the craziest match. Honestly, I said top 3. I don't know that I could even think of 2 that would have been better as far as the action and the way it went from one opposite extreme to the next opposite extreme.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing in this match, obviously, Nate wasn't typical Nate in a sense of getting up and rushing, standing up. He's learned from his mistakes. I think the experience really showed in this particular match. He remained calm, cool, collected throughout the entire time. Even when he got knocked down, as you said, very deliberate. He was slow. He gets up. Even getting past. And I mean, when you go back and watch this, even getting past the standing, the standing, 8 count or whatever. And, Nate goes back to the corner. And if you notice, he rests up against the table. And even at that point, the ref is still looking at him. I'm not sure if at that point the doctor was up there, but I was shocked that they still allowed it to continue because, just looking at it, he obviously didn't seem like he had his full wits to him, but that left an opening for him to be able to continue and build that momentum, as you said. I'm going to play devil's advocate here as well, because it almost seems in some ways that Aaron Turner lost confidence, which is mind blowing. You just sat a guy down in round 1. You win the first round 10-8. And something was different in Aaron in round 2 and in round 3. It's you see Nate go this way, you see Aaron go the opposite way, and kind of leading up until that final round, and obviously that final decision round. And I'll pull up, the scorecard for you guys to be able to see how it got there. So we had a 10-8 round from all 3 judges in round 1 for Turner, and then we've got a 10-9, 10-9 for Nate in rounds 2 and in rounds 3. And if you recall, Ding, Turner changed up his strike. That first strike that he delivered wasn't the same strike that he did in round 2 and in round 3. He almost brought in a little Alan Klingbeil-esque kind of strike, in round 3, I believe it was. He changed some of the momentum through it, and ultimately wasn't able to get the victory in this one. But it does go to the sudden death, and I'll tell you, the electric atmosphere that was there in round 4 when they were going to get ready. You had Nate and you had Aaron both hyping up the crowd. I'm not sure that they even realized in real time, the magnitude of this first ever sudden death match and what it was going to come down and what it was going to do. So I think it's one for the ages, man, for sure. And I know we got, in the chat, I think it was it Crespo that said it was fight of the year? I think at this point.
No, several people have said that at this point.
Honestly, here as well.
This might, again, and I mean, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I know, recency bias, whatever, but this feels like the greatest power side match that's ever happened. I've never seen a match that's, this climactic. Like, people were just so invested, and the eruption just from obviously Nate gets dropped in the first. That's what you expect when you go to Power Slap. But I think you built this story where now it's sudden death. People don't really know what's going on when the match is done. Referees kind of moving around. Everybody's speculating what's happening, what's going on. Why is it taking so long? This is weird. Then they both converge. They're talking to the ref. Ref's like, hey, we don't got to score. We're going to go to sudden death. Nate goes to one corner, starts pumping up the crowd. And Aaron goes to the other corner, starts pumping up the crowd. None of what they've just done matters. This is now a fresh round. This is a one round match. And Nate makes it a 10-8. Nate could have easily just squeaked out something, or Aaron could have just squeaked out something, but they didn't. Nate found whatever it was inside of him, and he made Aaron Turner sit, feel the floor for the first time in his Power Slap career. And he's been hit by a lot of guys. At this point, Aaron Turner's been there. He's done that. And this has never happened before. So for it to happen after him doing that is just that much more impressive. Nate's been away for a year or so, right? There've been the big talk about, does he deserve to be number 2, blah, blah, blah. I think Nate Bernard shut everybody up that night. I mean, if you're a critic of Nate Bernard, you're not a critic anymore. I mean, now we're talking about what do you have to do? Like, honestly, I think Nate's probably the biggest target besides the champion at this point. Because if you can put a guy like that, down and out, then that says something because of what he was able to do on October 3rd.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame worthy. Yeah, I like it. I mean, I don't know how far we are from a Hall of Fame, but I like it.
They had a slap Hall of Fame. Would it be in Vegas? Where would it be? It would have to be, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, it would be the Power Slap Hall of Fame, right? It wouldn't be a Slap Hall of Fame.
I would assume so, yeah.
Because if it's a Slap Hall of Fame, it's kind of got to be where Slap was born in North America, which would be Branson, Missouri, right?
Yeah, yeah. You talk about Nate. Obviously, we know the bell has been sidelined. We don't have a match for him at this particular moment. Nate Bernard at number 2. How do you see all this kind of fitting out? We know we've got Dorian Perez and Zakir lined up. Where does this?
If you have, so we've talked about this, and again, this is all speculation. If you have an event in November, which I've said publicly is, if it happens, I think it would be Qatar November 21st. If that's the case, or for whatever reason, let's just say like, we do another early December event. Last year was December 7th, so let's just say we do something around there. I think you do Nate and Bell again because Zakir Dorian will just have competed, and I think that person's next. I think that's the second match to me. I do not want a title match right now. I do not. Okay, fair. I think that's the right thing to do based on the timing. If it's going to happen before year's end, I do respect though that, and I've said this, I think people should take the long road to the title. The experience is good for you. You're getting hit in the face, quote unquote undefended, which there's a lot of things we can throw into that, right? That undefended term in quotations, but the more experience, the better, especially when you've had a long layoff like Nate has and kind of rushed the first time. So I think, seeing some more of these guys, getting more of these looks, feeling some of these hands, the winner of Dorian Zakir could be somebody that's important for Nate to face as well, because I think that they're two interesting challenges. On the defensive side, Dorian is as flawless as they come. On the offensive side, Zakir seems to be, when he's clean striking, which hasn't been very often yet, but the most recent one was the cleanest strike that we've seen. It's all about his power. So I think those are two different challenges. In theory, no matter what you throw at Dorian Perez, it's not going to matter. And on the flip side, Zakir's going to hit you with something you've never been hit with before. So it's tough, man. It's tough. And I think that they're important challenges for any guy in that division to face. And I think that's why Dorian's number 1, man, because it doesn't matter what you throw at him. Damien DeBell has done this to everybody. He hasn't done it to Dorian Perez because he just not that easy. Nobody's figured out how to quote unquote crack the chin of Dorian Perez. And I think that's, a step in the right direction. If you want to be the champion of that division, got to figure that out. You got to figure out at least how to pound that damage and make him feel something, because that dude is made of some special mixture of salsa, taquitos, cowboy hats, cowboy boots, belts, street beefs, and a whole bunch of other shit, man.
Yeah. It's actually funny as that, and I see Anthony DeFrank here in the comments. I think he he's one to do it. I know he, makes a living off being an influencer and stuff like that. Should actually do a docu-series called The Long Road to the Title. I think he's the one that could do it. Everyone wants to rush to the title, but I think it would be kind of punny to do the long road to the title.
Yeah, I think rushing to the title is a mistake, man. I've always said that. I truly believe, I get it. The big stage, the money, and, I'll use Dakota McGregor as an example. Lost his champion twice. What do you have to do now to get yourself a third championship opportunity when this guy has defeated you twice? The first time was a complete and utter domination over 5 rounds. The second time was a complete and utter domination that ended with a finish. Like, you kind of got to kill, they're littler guys, so King Kong's not the right person, but you kind of got to kill, Diddy Kong, Baby Kong. You got to kill Diddy Kong to get another match with the champion. It's like, that doesn't set you up as an athlete for success. And so, I would encourage an athlete, if I was a manager or a advisor or a confidant or whoever these guys are talking to, to get career advice. You know, the money and all that stuff is great and it's important, but if you look at the longevity of your career, you lose 2 matches in a row to a champion because somebody needed a favor or they needed a person to fit in because somebody fell out or this person said no or whatever. Now you find yourself in a situation, and the truth is, I said this to Dakota. If you lose this match, I said this before he took the match, or when he took the match before it happened. If you lose this match, where do you go? You're kind of stuck, man. So just keep that in mind, you know. And obviously, most guys, I mean, I would hope are not going up there with the intention of losing, and I get it, but you kind of got to understand also for yourself as an athlete, you know, your career, you know, from March to July, how much is really going to change as far as your, you know, ability to defeat a guy that had you figured out. But anyway.
Yeah. Let's go. A match that I think isn't being spoke about enough in regards to the potential that it has for the women's division, the potential for a future title belt, the implications that could have been involved. You know, Ding, let's break it back. Let's play the tape. Let's look at this match specifically. Talked about not being on a lot of knockouts in Power Slap.
Particularly for the women.
Yeah, for the women.
I think, you know, there was a lot resting on this. And I think everybody knew that. You know, in theory, this was a number 1 contender match. So this moment I think was important because Ellie obviously kind of coming into her own right with the Mikey match. You know, she talked about this afterwards, right? She was kind of shocked by the lack of power or how little it was to her or whatever the case was. She was just surprised that it didn't hurt as much as she thought it would. This is the last thing that you want as Haley when you're trying to hit this girl, and the last girl you hit did not look like this when you hit her. And you're convinced, like you dropped your last opponent. You're convinced that this isn't how this is going to go. And you saw her and Mikey, the weirdness and the DQ and whatever, but there was no real objective power on either side that you could see definitively as a viewer because nobody did anything to each other, right? Now, whether that's a defensive thing or offensive thing, we don't know. So now you've hit her with what you think is the kitchen sink. She laughs at it, comes back and sits you down. And look, so this is the mistake right here. So Haley goes to get up right away. She's hurt. She's like, yeah, that was a good shot. Robert's like, sit the fuck down. She sits down. She's already been up. She's looking at him like, am I good? He tells her at 8 to get up. She wasn't okay because you got to think from balance. She's down on the ground because she's unbalanced, right? In her head, she's woozy. She rises up really quickly. Now her body's trying to adjust to that new balance. Then you drop to try to catch your composure, but you didn't have enough time now because you sprung up to your feet. That's just inexperience, man. It's that simple. She's never been there before. And so she reacted to it the way she thought she should, which was to get up as quickly as possible to try to ixnay the optic or whatever for the judges, and it ended up costing her the fight, man. I think that's exactly what happened. And we talked about that for Isaiah Brandon, and I said before their fight, if they wanted to make it past, you know, into the later rounds, which ultimately it didn't need to go there, but if either one of them touched the ground and they were coherent still, they needed to kneel first. That was the issue that Brandon had in the first match and Isaiah had in the second match, was that they got up too quickly. They didn't kneel. They didn't give themselves an opportunity. You already lost a round. You got dropped 10-8. It's already over. You might as well spend the time on the ground, get yourself back up to your feet and go. And like I said, it's going to be very rare, but in cases like Nate's, where he was able to just kind of roll as he was getting to his feet, kind of taking that 10 seconds in total, because I think on the first 2-3 seconds, I think Nate was actually like in serious trouble. Then he starts to regain his composure. He stays down there for a second, and then he starts, I mean, he's a big dude. Then he starts to recover. He starts to get up, and those recovery movements are slow and very intentional and deliberate. And so he gives himself an opportunity. By the time he's standing on his feet, he's okay. Haley, first of all, she was getting up in a very weird way too, right? She's kind of standing up like she's a break dancer, or she's like doing a dance move, right? Because she fell out on her feet. Her legs were kind of underneath her. And then she tries to spring up off of that in a really weird, like, again, it was just a weird way to get up. And now she's wobbly. Robert's running on stage like a coach should, which I don't think they're supposed to go that far up, but whatever. He gets away with it.
Yeah.
And, you know, tells her, hey, you need to kneel. And now you can see that I guess panic. That panic kind of sets in, or that chaos where it's like, okay, what the fuck just happened? Coach, what are you saying? He's like, stay there, stay there, stay there. And then he's telling her, come on, let's stand up. But she's already like, holy shit, what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look, she hits her head on the table before she goes down, which, that's an additional touch point. That's an additional, moment for you to get your ring buzzed. So
I hear you. I mean, definitely, you talk about kind of that turning point in the match, in round one, she gets up there and, isn't able to move Ellie whatsoever. And, it's almost like her confidence got deflated, to be quite honest with you. We didn't see vintage, Haley J up there on the defensive side. We seen her looking down at the table as Ellie was getting ready to strike for her, kind of seeing it come in. She just didn't look, even in the windup, like she was fully confident in the entire thing. And, we see it before. Once that confidence lacks and, if it seeps into your head that you believe you're going to get knocked out, more times than not, you do end up in that position. And it just seems like, a lot of it got deflated. And, I mean, from Ellie's standpoint, the Michael Michelle Brown match, we didn't really get to see what her full potential is in that match. Obviously, she still withstood the clubs for Michael Michelle Brown. But how high is her ceiling? I mean, could she inevitably? I know she doesn't have the pro experience in MMA, but she does have experience in Muay Thai. I mean, judging against her and Paige Van Zant, how could that match go? I know one of the viewers put that match in the chat. I think I like her chances, man. I think I would as a challenger in this one.
I think they're very similar. I think the two of them are. I mean, from what we've seen from Ellie so far, she's unmovable or immovable. Excuse me. Paige has been the same way. Paige has a little bit more experience. Obviously, she dropped Christine Wolmarantz quite a few times, but didn't have that same success with Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
Neither did Ellie. So it's tough. I mean, Mikey's a tough competitor to judge because she's granted, right? She's Iron Mikey, and I get it, but I think with them both having the ability and having shown the ability to drop, another competitor, I think that makes it pretty exciting because it's not something that we see in flyweight very often. And so when you find the two people that have done it and they go up against each other, obviously when Haley was going up against Ellie, Haley had dropped somebody, but she was smaller coming up in weight. Ellie hadn't. Now it's Ellie's really taking somebody who I think had a lot of steam behind her, and I think in some ways still does in Hollywood Haley J. Mm-hmm. And Paige has that experience. It's exciting, man. But the one question I have in all of this is obviously I know she's sidelined now because of the nose injury, but Chelsea Dotson, man, like that draw with Paige, it's still there, and something has to conclude, right? There has to be some sort of loop closing there because they never really finished that story. It just kind of was like, okay, we're gonna go separate ways now. But can Chelsea beat Paige Van Zant? Because Paige Van Zant couldn't beat her, and it was her debut. So fast forward now, Chelsea fits in here somewhere. Obviously she's had bad luck with obviously the nose incident with PETA, and then before that she loses to Nicole. But somebody's got to figure out what's next for Chelsea Dotson.
100%. Let's bring one more. Let's talk about the female match before we get into the trilogy match of Isaiah and Brandon. Let's talk about the Jackie Cataline, Abby Montez fight a little bit. Let's go through it. I mean, being there in person, I mean, in some ways this match, Jackie, for what she's done in the sport has been a draw and been a name. And, Abby's been one of these athletes that I think has a lot of star potential, and not just because of her Mexican heritage, but she seems to kind of check a lot of the boxes as one of those homegrown, talent and/or stars that I think Power Slap can really get behind. And so I feel like this match had a lot of potential to play into kind of breeding that, next one up in the female division. That first strike there didn't look so great. Could there have been a club there a little bit deep?
Yeah, that was an interesting landing there, for sure. I think. Let's see. Her hair blocks it, but I mean, it definitely wasn't a smooth strike, right?
Who's the
And
ref? First time we're seeing this guy.
that's a new guy. Yeah, that's a new guy. He's the one that was screaming, clean blow.
Oh,
So,
really? Okay.
yeah, he kept screaming, clean blow, clean blow. I'm like, okay. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, I think.
You think what?
Hold on. I mean, that movement was a little weird, and I think Abby was talking about it, right? That like the way she was flexing.
Mhm.
Yeah, so she gets called for a foul here. Yeah, I mean, it was so subtle, and then this is when Robert starts to argue. She just kind of tensed up. It was a weird movement. I think
But do you think it was the head tilt? Maybe a little bit more so that
it
kind of.
was just so little. I don't know that it affected the strike.
Yeah. Well, we've seen that rule change a little bit that they can do a bit of a movement and bite down on the mouth guard as long as
Yeah,
the chest and or the shoulders doesn't impact the path of
the
the
strike.
slap.
Right.
So I see where you're coming from on it.
Um, 10-9 Cataline's an interesting one there. I don't know. That's a tough one. I'd give that probably. I don't know if you can, but obviously this is a beautiful one. Abby's up in round 2, but I mean round 1. I've never seen anybody do it, but I mean that would be if it's a 9-9. That would be it. I don't know who would win that
What do you mean? Sorry.
in the first round. That was just. I mean, they both looked fine to me, so I don't know how you would score one or the other. This one obviously is pretty definitive, right? With Jackie kind of buckling and then backing up, holding the table. She definitely looked like that one hurt. She's locked in with her coach. I love it.
Yeah. So round 1, we have.
It was 10-9 Abby, I believe.
So I'm just looking here. So 10-9 Abby on one scorecard. So 2 scorecards, and then they get one judge gave it to
Jackie.
Jackie.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if there was a 9-9, that would be it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she just had a lot of trouble, man, with translating the power. Abby was just really in her element. She was enjoying herself.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a good strike.
I say the movement there is not any more or less than I think the original round, to be honest.
It's a good strike. I just think Abby's just again taquitos.
But talk to me about Ryan Phillips, because I'll tell you, while sitting in the crowd, he was on a next level that day. Could you hear him on the broadcast and some of the stuff that he was saying?
Not really. Not really.
Really?
It wasn't a focal point. I mean, people were drawing my attention to it and saying like, look at Ryan Phillips and but I just oh look at that. Just fucking
The ads, buddy.
non-premium subscriber, huh?
I guess so, man.
But no, to answer your question, no, I don't think what he was doing was translated to the remote viewers.
Gotcha. Yeah, there was one line I had to laugh, and he'll probably get mad at me for saying it, but he said something to the effect of like deporter to heaven. And literally within 2 minutes, I mean, I'll say the 20 seconds, Frank is on his shoulder saying you can't say that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
That's wild.
So it was pretty funny.
That was a good shot, but Jackie took it well.
Yeah. So what do you think of both these athletes? What's next for them?
You're not going to give us Jackie's third strike?
Oh, did I miss that one? Oops, my bad.
Yeah. Well, Jackie's got to go down to 135. She said that was her intention. She had the MMA mix up with Abby. They had kind of been trying to go at this. The first time that this came on our radar and we posted footage of this was June 27th after Power Slap 13.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, Jackie was scheduled to face Abby at Sean Merriman's promotion, Lights Out XC, I believe it's called. on August 2nd. There were some visa issues. They couldn't get it done. But she had said she was interested in competing against Abby, but I just think Jackie these days Jackie's walking around a little smaller, and so I think that she's just not as big as she once was. That did not look like it had a lot on it. Like I don't. If it almost felt like she like pulled back as she hit her. That was an unusual one. That was probably the weirdest strike of the match, and I think that's what lost her that round. Round one, I'm okay with Jackie or Abby being the winner. Second round was clearly Abby. Third round, I think Jackie gave up with her strike versus what Abby dished out. But I think obviously we know Sheena's coming back against Robin. I think Abby versus the winner of that for a title. That's what I would say. I know that division is still kind of thin. There's not a lot of talent there. But if Robin Weirshut can beat Sheena Bathory, then she deserves a championship, in my opinion. If Sheena's the victor, I think that goes without saying. Most people have been saying that Sheena should have been the first woman to get a title match, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think anybody will be upset. And then if you look at Abby, now having disposed of Jackie Cataline and Jackie Thomas at 145, I mean, who else is there?
That's a good question, my man.
Yeah, so 2 judges had it clean sweep for Abby, and then 1 judge had it 2 out of 3. So it was a unanimous decision, but it was a combo split of 30-27 and 29-28.
All right, man. Let's do one more. Let's get in. Let's break down the trilogy, the match that everybody wanted to see. Did it live up to your hype before we get into it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think both guys made adjustments to withstand in that first round. I don't know that they made any mistakes. I also want to clarify. There seemed to be some confusion that maybe I had indicated that Isaiah Quinones cannot get a round 1 knockout. I don't believe that to be the case, but up until this point, even as we sit here and we speak, he has not gotten a round 1 knockout. So I think that he's a slower starter. I think that's just him. I think he uses the first strike to sort of identify his spot, get his cowboys off, get himself really in there. And then rounds 2 and 3, he's really looking to kill you. He's done it to Bordeaux now twice in the second round, and then he did it to John Davis, I believe, in the third round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, what have you noticed there? Just before it was playing, we've seen Isaiah there really trying to find the jaw. That was a big talking point all week. I'll tell you was are they going to make Brandon shave the beard? And how tight was it going to be on the side? Where was it going to be trimmed? That seemed to be a lot of talk going around Vegas, and seemingly it didn't look like it was trimmed too much from this particular picture. We've seen Isaiah really trying to find that button. With obviously a bit more, thicker or bushier beard than he, sports himself. So I actually haven't watched this match back yet. So kind of getting it in real time and being there in person is so different.
That was an interesting revelation. Asking his opponent if he's okay with the length of his beard. That's interesting. I would think that would be kind of a commission perspective. But yeah, so I mean, I seen the comments online, like, Brandon Flinch, whatever. But again, it's a shoulders and neck thing. It's not really like a head thing per se.
Is Destiny McCubbin making an appearance?
Yeah, she's coming back. August. Power Slap 16, Abu Dhabi, October 24th. Destiny McCubbin welcomes Mio Ding. My name twin. You can see it. Brandon's like chomping at the bit, man. He can't wait to whack him.
That right on one, eh?
That was an interesting response.
That's not traditional Brandon, right? Right on one? That's not Brandon's normal cadence, is it?
Yeah.
Always on one?
I don't know I don't want to say always. I don't think in the beginning of his career he was, but more recently he was.
Okay.
It was interesting though. I mean, Isaiah took a big risk here with obviously he gets buckled, looks a little out of his element, takes a couple steps back, but then decides to kind of showboat. My personal opinion, that was a mistake because it could have went the wrong way. You got to focus on recovery. Do we have scorecards for that? I know that there are scorecards. Do you have them? I'm curious. I would say pretty definitively that Brandon won round one.
Yeah, but I can't get it up at the same
Okay,
time.
no worries.
I can't screenshot twice. So what do we got here? We've got. Let me pause this for 1 second.
Yeah, so the broadcast agrees 10-9 Bordeaux.
Yeah, so we got 10-9, 10-9, 10-9 across the board, all three judges.
Okay, so they agree with that. All right, cool.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, he hit him with a real shot, man. That was a shot. That was a shot. I mean, watching it, I was actually pretty surprised because we've never seen Bordeaux like that, right? I mean, he's a very tough competitor. On the outset of that, obviously he has some fractures to his orbital bone, quite a few. So definitely speedy recovery there, but my understanding is the fracture happened in the first round, which is interesting because I didn't really see. This is a tough son of a bitch, man, because I didn't see any indication. Like, you break my orbital bone, I'm not going back up there. I'm not getting hit again. You're crazy. This guy's done it multiple times. And so you see Isaiah, I think he tried to kind of check on him there. They told him to fuck off. Yeah, he found the spot because we've never seen Brandon like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and to see him go back and not able to get up either. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't. It almost seems like they stopped it immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, that we've never seen him even close to something like that. I mean, in the first match, he gets knocked down, but it was obviously he gets back to his feet, tries to get coherent. But again, I think that he just went a little quickly. But this time, I mean, it was night.
It was. We got the finale of it. Isaiah Quiones is the champion now. In a lot of ways, I think what we thought in this division, what would happen, and the changing of the guard. I mean, I think Isaiah obviously, is going to bolster in this next chapter as it kind of evolves and as it moves on. Seemingly Brandon Rhodes is a guy that's putting his name in the hat as that next potential man up. I know we didn't talk about it, but Brandon Rhodes obviously victorious as well on this particular night. Do you think he did enough to warrant a shot at Isaiah?
Well, it depends on how much I want to say about this. He kind of put me in the spot here, Core. No, I don't think that beating a brand new guy, albeit the former champion's brother, I don't think beating a brand new guy by TKO in the second round is championship worthy. However, the guys in front of him are not going to be able to fight for a championship for a decent amount of time. So he is next. I'll just say that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, do you think it's more of a body of work thing of what he's done over the last little bit? I mean, obviously beating Manny is a big leg up. We know how they hold Manny in very high regards. Put him back-to-back wins.
I mean, he's taking the challenges that are in front of him, and that's what he should do. The problem is beating a former middleweight who's been at welterweight for a long time by decision is not like spectacular. And obviously he had the chief match, which is important, but he was on the wrong side of that one for 3 rounds in January. Then he comes back, does this thing against Manny, who's not a welter, or excuse me, who's not a middleweight anymore. And then now against Trent Bordeaux, who's brand new to everything. I mean, it's just they haven't given him the resume, the opportunity to get a resume that's worthy of a championship opportunity. But like I said, I mean, he's up there now. I think he's number 4 or something crazy up there. And like I said, the guys. Say that again.
Number 3 is Rhodes.
Yeah, even so, who's in front of him? Bordeaux and Chief, or Godfrey? I mean,
correct. Yes, the 2.
Yes, I mean the other issue is the Chief beat him. So how's he in front of the Chief? The Chief beat him handed.
Yeah. Well, then let me ask you this: then, is it one more? Does Isaiah sit? And do you offer him someone like Stunt Marshall versus Brandon Rhodes, or is that too fast for Stunt Marshall?
I mean, when AJ fought Stunt Marshall, he was what, like number 5 or 6? For a guy who's never been hit, I mean, giving him number 3 in the world is a train wreck. Like, we've seen this story before, and it almost never works out. I'm confident in saying, without having it in front of me, it's never worked out. I don't think there's been a single person who has never been hit that rises to a championship. I don't think it's ever happened. I think they've all gotten their first hit has always been one that they've fallen to, so to speak, right? Vern is one I can think of. Chief is another one I can think of. I'm not on the, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Stunt Marshall. I love what he brings to the table. I'm incredibly happy for the guy. I'm not on the hype train for somebody who hasn't been hit. I'm just not. Because when he gets hit, we don't know what it's going to look like. So if we put him up there with a champion and it's his first time getting hit, let's just say he gets the coin toss on Brandon Rhodes and knocks Brandon Rhodes out, right, in a crazy world. And then he finds himself knocking at the door of a championship opportunity, and the first time he gets hit is by the middleweight champion of the world, and he gets slept and won. I mean, then what? So I just think there has to be an opportunity for him to really kind of test this whole thing, because we find that when people get put up there against people who have that power and they don't have that experience, it doesn't go their way, man.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how to recover from that adversity. It's not easy. It's not like your instinct is wrong. When you get hit, your instinct is to get back up as soon as you can. That's wrong. That's not what you want to do. And we've seen people that have suffered because they make that mistake, because they follow their instinct, because they don't have that experience. But if you look at guys that have experience, like Nate Bernard, who's been hit, who's been dropped, he knew, all right, if I'm getting up from this, it's got to be at my pace. I can't try to rush and get up, ASAP, because I'm going to have a problem. And look at what he was able to produce in all of that adversity. And it's ultimately,
for sure,
he has to get hit. And I don't know how you do that, but I think number 3 in the world is the wrong answer.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen crazier things. I mean, we've seen Zakir, rise up through the ranks as well. Esteban saying Stunt Marshall versus John Davis. I like it. You know what? I even said this earlier in the week in Vegas. I think this is a match that makes a lot of sense. I think John Davis is a great gatekeeper there. Brandon Rhodes on a 2-win streak, might be a bit too much for Stunt Marshall to bite off. But if he did, could you imagine, the momentum and the storyline that he would have? And I think he's a gamer. Like, obviously Brandon Rhodes is not an easy out. He's proven that he is, incredibly tough, incredibly durable. Even that match with the Chief and being able to get up and to continue. But, for Stunt Marshall's side, I think managing his career effectively is also smart. And we'll see. I think, Frank's making, smart decisions along the way to, kind of manage that as it goes along, and we'll see. But I know we're getting a little long in the tooth here. We're obviously going to transition here to Power Slap number 16 coming up in short order here. The first time that we're getting 3 events in one calendar month. What can people look forward to on the socials, both on Instagram and YouTube, Ding?
Yeah, obviously we're knee deep in pre-fight interviews, looking at there's a drove of new talent that's being brought in here, some of which we'll all get to enjoy as live viewers, some of which will be kind of on the taped undercard. What I can tell you, without releasing anything crazy, is that there's people that you haven't seen in a while that will return on this card. I think, at this point, I believe we know 6 of the 8 live card fights publicly. I think off the top of my head, there's 5 or 6 tape matches. I think we've released 1, if I'm not mistaken. But there's a few on there that'll feature some talent that you haven't seen in a while. I'm trying to think. I can think of a guy from season 2. I can think of a guy from season 3.
What do you make of this?
Yeah. So Jujar Singh coming over from Slap Fighting Championship. I first saw him in the event they did back in July, representing India. And then his opponent, I apologize if I get that name wrong, but to me, it seems like Galushka Anatoly. He's Russian. My understanding is he's not competed in Slap before. I could be wrong on that because the name is different, in Russian versus in English. So there could be just a lapse there in his, history or record. But I mean, they're on the live card, so clearly they have some expectations of them, and they're heavyweights. It's interesting. I mean, we've never seen it before, right? 2 debutantes debuting on a live card, but it's international. It makes sense. And like I said, Jujar Singh, at least I can speak for, confidently. He's competed in slap fighting before, albeit Slap Fighting Championship, the Middle Eastern one, but I don't know the same for his opponent. Excuse me.
I mean, well, what does that say? I guess it's safe to assume that this could be a live fight in front of a live audience. We're going to be able to watch it on YouTube. So we'll see how these newcomers kind of come into the division. I mean, with the talk and controversy around Brandon's beard, if this guy walks into Power Slap with a beard like this, man, I think they're going to burn that place down.
Yeah, they'll probably have him tied up.
Yeah.
But I don't imagine
to the width is just crazy. That's all.
We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other matches that you're really looking forward to? It obviously, the co-main event, Dumpling McKinney Manu. We haven't really talked about it too much here in recent time. Give me a quick recap on this one and kind of where you think the keys to victory, are for Dumpling, and I'll take McKinney Manu.
Yeah, I think the Dumplings, ever since he started, right, obviously he comes in with the crazy knockout, and then that was kind of the end of it, right? We never saw that version of him come back. I think he's always been a very intelligent defender. I think his defense has always been the star of the show. And I think against a guy like McKinney Manu, if you can make his strikes look like they're not effective, you probably have more of a fighting chance, because the likelihood that you're going to knock a guy out who's never even been made to, take a step back, I mean, it's going to be hard, man, because if you think Hawaiian, if you think Hitman, if you think those guys are tough, McKinney Manu's cut from this, the same or similar cloth. Obviously, he's a Samoan and Maori, but this Polynesian's Polynesian, so it'll be tough, man.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I mean, when you look at it right now, I think, in today's day and age, if you were to put, the Crazy Wine, obviously he's dropped all the weight, but Dane and McKinney Manu, I feel like McKinney's got a lot of power behind him, a lot, to give on the defensive side, a guy that loves to go up there and entertain. And, I think he's really well positioned, a guy that's taken that, as you talked about earlier, that long road to the title. He's managed his things along the way. He's had some weird quirks along. And, for a lot of it, I mean, I don't think he really took this incredibly serious. And I think he'd be one to, usher in the same sentiment, where if he actually takes this serious, actually trains for it, practices, and really dials in, I think there's another level to his game that I think could equal that of, the Viernes. And so, we've seen that. Obviously, Dumpling is a guy, I'm not sure how much he trains either, to be quite honest with you. I think some of the training that we see from him is more on the, the celebrity status side, when, he gets these appearances and opportunities over in Russia, 2 big names going up against each other, inevitably a number 1 title match here. And I think both these athletes are going to be incredibly good. And I just think McKinney, man, who's a showman. I just think he has that ability, getting hit by Dwayne Crespo and, making the words like, hey, did he hit me yet? And the smile and the laugh. And, I think everyone really gets behind him. And I think, I think it percolates. Just the judges are human beings as well. And, when you end up liking people and the personality that they give off and the charisma they give off, the energy, the vibe, I think all that plays into it. And I think McKinney is, built stout, like you said, a huge neck, and I think somebody who you're not going to displace, and at least what we've seen from Dumpling recently, I don't think he's going to be able to move him from his, defensive stance. So we're going to see how that all unfolds. The main event, however, one Alan Klingbeil versus Wolverine. This one here, pinning up the OG Wolverine. The guy that's retired, who's unretired, coming back once again. The young buck, Allen, coming to this match. A massive victory last time we seen him out. How do you kind of peg this one? And where do you think the lines are going to open up in Vegas, a week before or so?
I think the odds will probably have Wolverine 2-1, just the experience and the dominance. But I think what's on Allen's side, is adversity. I think Allen's faced more adversity than Wolverine has. Wolverine faced adversity against DeBell. He faced adversity against the adversity he faced in Austin Turpin was a loss. The adversity he faced against Damian DeBell was a loss. But Austin Turpin was a finish. So he lost to Austin Turpin, faced adversity, but it was a finish. DeBell he lost to, faced adversity, but it was a decision. And then he faced adversity against...
What, Allen?
No, Wolverine.
Wolverine, okay.
Faced adversity against, Russell. That was a weird one. That guy, ringing your bell, no shocker. But the dirty strikes, and obviously that all leads to it. To be honest with you, I'm just concerned with how much Wolverine's been hit, to be straight up honest. Wolverine's probably absorbed more strikes than almost any signed slap fighter right now in power slap. And Allen he's been able to figure it out, man. He's, even against Luke Simons in the first match, he loses, but it's by decision. Austin Turpin puts him away. Allen beats Vern. Allen beats Luke in the rematch by KO, so to speak. Yeah, I think I like Allen's adversity. I like how he's overcome adversity, and I think his experience here is going to be important, which is crazy to say because Wolverine's got a ton of experience. But experience is different from experience with adversity, right? If you're cruising through matches, it's one thing. If you're coming back from matches that you have gotten hurt in or gotten wobbled in or got dropped in, that's another thing. And Wolverine has just kind of withstood that test. But Alan Klingbeil has a very, very unorthodox windup and a very unorthodox strike. And most people that he fights, when they feel it, they're like shocked by it. Turpin, I remember in their match, obviously it ended the way it ended and Turpin won. But when Alan Klingbeil hit him, Austin Turpin looked like, oh shit, like what did he just hit me with? And he says it, if you ask him now, he's like, that was just the weirdest strike. You don't expect it. It's very unorthodox. It's quick. Like, I think that matters also. I think that's Allen's secret weapon, to be quite honest.
Yeah, in the comments, we're seeing a lot of support behind Allen here, which I'm actually a little bit surprised about. Wolverine is just Wolverine, man. Anytime you count that guy out, he finds a way to pull through and be victorious. He continues to reinvent himself. Almost every time he's up there, he finds new ways to win. Looking at Alan Klingbeil's, looking at his record, it's definitely a mixed bag of tricks in some ways. Victorious over Joe Landman, first time we see him. I think it's safe to say that we can write that one off. A victory over Vern Cathy. Vern Cathy in the early days had a lot of hype behind him, coming off the Amir knockout and a lot of prestige there. Losing to Austin Turpin, getting a victory over Colton Cole, who, we haven't seen in some time. Power slap number 7, seemingly feels like forever ago, back in early 2024. And a loss to Luke Simon, and then being able to come back and beat Luke Simon. I think it's a lot real fast. I mean, I think inevitably we could have seen Alan Klingbeil take one more match here before getting a shot at Wolverine. You ask me who, I guess we can debate that. I mean, he doesn't have one Russell Rivera on his resume at this particular moment. So I think that match could have made a lot of sense. But in some ways, I mean, by beating Luke Simons, who is his rising superstar, Alan Klingbeil has kind of, taken on this a bit of mystique. And I think you're seeing in the chat right here where a lot of people believe that he has the opportunity to do it. And, as you're kind of alluding to, at some point, Wolverine is going to have diminishing returns. At some point, there is going to be the accumulation of damage that he's accomplished in his career. I mean, going all the way back to, SFC as well. And the amount of blows he's taken from Darius in 2+ matches is more than a lot of slap fighters will have taken their entire career. So, is that time now? Is Wolverine over that hump? I'm not so sure on it, but we're going to see. I might be eating my words on it coming up. And, maybe Alan Klingbeil is that ringer that's going to find that bell and finally put him over the top. I mean, the chat seems to think that way. I think there's two tails of the tape. I think that's what makes this exciting. I think Alan's has that unique edge to him, but I still think Wolverine is Wolverine, man. I mean, people doubted him versus Darius. People doubted him, versus Turpin. People doubted him versus, Russell as well. And he's still standing. So we'll see.
That we will, man. 2 weeks from Friday.
2 weeks coming up fast, man. So awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you joining me, Ding. Pleasure as always. Same place, same time. Of course, we'll be back next week. Smack Talk keeps on rolling on 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 o'clock on the East every single Wednesday. I want to give a shout out to Head Rush. We appreciate Head Rush for everything that they do to allow us to bring you guys the coverage that they are, the striker shirts, event shirts, everything. There's a promo code /news gives you a discount. I believe it's 15% off all of your orders at Head Rush as well. Until next time, Ding. Peace out, my man.